What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA, and you know, I was thinking 5 years ago, if I told you that this was going to be your lineup, right, in the end of the summer going into the fall of 2022, right? If I told you this was going to be your lineup 5 years ago, because remember 5 years ago was 2017, we were coming off of Rogue One, which is Andor, right? Star Wars, coming off of that in 2016. Most people was happy with Rogue One. Game of Thrones was still in its shine, in its prime. It's doing pretty good, okay? Marvel was doing great, okay? We were just getting through with Spider-Man Homecoming in 2017. You know, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, that era, Middle Earth, you know, diminishing returns, I think, on that trilogy. But nevertheless, people were pretty stoked about most of these series. If I told you that this was going to be the lineup, you would have been like, hell yeah, yes. Oh man, all of this in 2022? And I said, hold up, all of these shows are about to come out within about a month of each other. You would have said, Christmas came early this year. Whoo, I can't wait. You would have been pumped. And look at this now. Look at this lineup now. How do you feel about this lineup now? Man, it's going to be interesting to see how all of this shit plays out. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. We've already looked at SheHulk, okay? You can check my review. I'll go ahead and link that above of episode 1. It was absolute feminist horse crap garbage. And I was wondering, like, who was going to be like the best out of all of these shows? Which one would be the worst? Which one would be the most woke? Which would be the most political? You know, I'm trying to figure out like which one is going to be the worst out of all of them. You know, I have my hopes for Andor because of Tony Gilroy. He wrote the Bourne trilogy, you know, Jason Bourne films. I love those films. He's the showrunner of Andor. So again, hopes are still kind of there, but we'll get to some of the stuff that we've been reading about it. It don't sound too good, but let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's start off with actually House of the Dragon. So yeah, it says woke critics don't like the new Game of Thrones. Uh-oh, that might mean it's good. I mean, yeah, if they don't like it, then maybe, just maybe, this thing might be all right. Or it could just be bad and nobody likes it. But let's see. It says here it earned a 68 out of 100 on a Metacritic aggregator of film reviews. You know, for comparison, the panned final season of Thrones scored a 75. So yeah, this thing is way underneath the final season of Game of Thrones. But keep in mind, these are the critics that liked all kind of other crap out there. And this guy says, the critics saying that the new Game of Thrones isn't any good makes me think HBO didn't woke it up like we all feared. Good news. Maybe. We'll see. You know, one thing I think that it has going in its favor is that House of the Dragon is actually based on a book, unlike some other stories that are out there. It's actually based on Fire and Blood. George R.R. Martin has been very involved with the production. So that portends good things, in my opinion, for House of the Dragon. I've been reading like some of the early reviews, or at least the early reactions, you know, and most of them have been kind of like mixed, you know, but we'll see. It might be actually pretty good. Who knows? Now, moving on, of course, we have Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. And we already know, I've done a few videos on how much of a disaster this thing is going to be. It's going to be 100% woke, and we know it. All right. It's going to be 100% political, woke ideology. It's going to be talking about all the problems of the world that we live in today, instead of actually taking the adaptation of the man that actually wrote the original material and his sensibilities of the world and portraying that to the world. You see, that's the problem when you hijack IPs. You're really just shitting on the original creators, right? Because the original creator had his own vision of the world, of what he believed, okay? And you don't take his vision, crumple it up, and then just toss it away and then inject your own stuff. That's not the way this works, okay? You're supposed to take the originator's vision, what he saw, the way he viewed the world, and you're supposed to say, okay, we're going to adapt that so that this man's message lives on through our work, okay? We're not just gonna, well, I think that this is what he was really thinking, and we'll just go ahead and do that, you know, because that's basically what's happening. And we've read that. You guys saw this article. I know I didn't do a video on it, but I know you guys saw it. It says, you know, from one of the producers of the show, it felt only natural to us that an adaptation of Tolkien's work would reflect what the world actually looks like. No, it wouldn't. It would reflect what he wrote. What's wrong with people? Why can't you understand just simple logic? Don't take somebody's creation. It's like taking the Picasso, a Picasso, and just being like, you know what? I think Picasso would have rather had a little mustache on this little character right here. You know, I mean, that's his work. Leave it alone. If you want to adapt it, but make it an adaptation. Tolkien is for everyone. His stories are about fictional races doing their best work when they leave the isolation of their own cultures and come together. And you know what? There was no reason to shape or change anything that he wrote in order to get that message across. If that message was, he got that message across back in the early 20th century, he's still getting that message across. All you got to do is just let his work play out, as millions upon millions of people have seen. So again, you know, I already know, we've already talked about Rings of Power. I think that thing is going to be 100% disaster. All right, now we get to Andor. Oh man. Andor actor Denise Goh claims her character art will address gender politics. Oh my God. Can we stop with this stuff? Please, please. Again, I'm a Star Wars fan. You guys know that's like the hill I probably will end up dying on at some point. I am a dyed-in-the-wool Star Wars fan, and I've been probably one of the biggest apologizers for this stuff. But trust me, I recognize what it is. It is not up to snuff. It is not what George Lucas had in mind. It is not what it should be. When Disney bought this thing, we were all excited, and then it just turned into absolute mush. But still have hope. There's The Mandalorian out there. There's all kinds of other series out there, and you still kind of, you know, I'm still with you. Come on, guys, you can do it.
Still haven't given up on me. Never.
And then this stuff comes out. Denise Goh, who plays Supervisor Deidre Miro in the upcoming Andor series, recently detailed that her character art explores gender politics. And then she goes on to talk about, you know, as a woman in that world, for her to advance in any way, she has to be like 10 times better than anyone else in that room. And that felt really relevant to everything we're going through right now. Can I just watch a show? Can I just watch a show? Like, I read the news, you know, I check the news out. I listen to podcasts. I talk to other people, and we talk about all of this stuff in real life. Can I just watch a show without having all of this stuff smashed into my face time and time again? Damn, man. Can I just watch a show? Is that so hard, Disney? Hey, you're supposed to be entertainment, okay? Get all of this crap out of here, man. It's ridiculous. There's always been like that talking point that being a woman in Star Wars, like, oh, the Star Wars doesn't treat, you know, women the same as they treat the men. I'm like, Princess Leia in the first damn movie was out here like, somebody's got to save our skins, and she's out there with her gun and just shooting. Come on with me, and calling Chewbacca a walking carpet and all kinds of stuff. You know, like, Leia was one of the toughest, roughest characters in that show, right? You know, she wasn't just some damsel in distress. So I don't understand where like this entire idea of like, you know, oh, the female characters have always been kind of downplayed and everything like that. No. So yeah, and this looks like, you know, with this show, you know, I'm praying and hoping that this is just this silly woman's take on the matter and not actually what Tony Gilroy wrote. You know, she just kind of reading into it. But you know, unfortunately, there's been other people that said it. You know, Fiona Shaw. Tony Gilroy has written a great scurrilous take on the Trumpian world. Our world is exploding in different places right now. People's rights are disappearing, and Andor reflects that. Like, it just feel like I'm about to watch CNN. I can watch CNN. I already got CNN. I don't watch it as it is. All right. If I wanted to watch CNN, I would turn on CNN. Why do we got to do this? Why do we got to do this? Just, hey, look, again, I'm just hoping that all of this is just these silly people's take on the show. But, you know, when Andor comes out, man, I'm going to be watching it with a real critical eye. And you know, a lot of my Star Wars buddies may not like it, but I'm going to call it exactly like I see it. I'm going to call it exactly like I see it. But yeah, it's Star Wars, boy. I tell you, man, that's gonna be the one. It's gonna be the tough one for me to give up. All this other stuff, I can go, hey man, goodbye, gone. Man, Star Wars got a deep place in my heart, and it's just been such a rough ride these last like 4 to 5 years, man. And then finally we get to SheHulk. So I don't know if you guys realize that this was a feminist show. And look what the feminists have to say. SheHulk can't quite meet its feminist ideals yet. You see, this is why you don't pander to these fools, okay? You don't pander to these morons, because guess what? They still gonna complain about it. They still complaining. Look at this. Oh, Disney Plus series is about body image issues, but it's got some of its own. See, that's the problem. Now, that's why you don't do this stuff, okay? He's like, oh yeah, you know, we got control of the show. We got control of the franchise. Yeah, we about to spread our feminism all throughout this thing. Yeah, and all the women, they gonna sit up there and be like, yeah, go girl, slay queen. They're gonna be saying all of that kind of crap. Yeah, they're gonna be cheering for us. Nope, they still not happy. They still not happy, okay? You cannot please feminists. I don't care what you do. You cannot please a feminist. This is going to be they're going to talk about this all year long. I mean, they're going to say, oh, there was such an opportunity for them to do. And at the end of the day, you can't please them. So stop. Here's an idea. Why don't you please the fans, huh? The people that actually built this comic book company up. Why don't you go to them and say, hey guys, what do you want to see? And talk to us. Talk to the audience. Talk to the actual fans, okay? Not the people that are just going to sit up here and cry about it no matter what you do, okay? You get what you deserve, Marvel. You get what you deserve. But yeah, let's go ahead and just check out this last part, because this is what it was all about. It's all about the body positivity stuff. They really built the She-Hulk frame and the look off the body types of certain kinds of Olympians, right? But they're saying, well, there's all kinds of Olympians. They're bodybuilders, swimmers, runners, rowers, blah, blah, blah. They're just as bulky, often as they are slim. So when Cairo tells Polygon that the body type they settled on was akin to Misty Copeland, someone who is strong and powerful, but can go to a restaurant and have a date and work in a regular office and sit in a regular office chair, it feels more like Marvel Sheen, where the edges get sanded off to make for a common denominator. Ha ha ha. They throw their little jabs, even though you went through great lengths, right? You went through great lengths to try to make a feminist show, and they still didn't care. See, that's what happens, guys. They still didn't care, even at the end of the day. So quit pandering to them. Because I told you guys before, remember, I did the She-Hulk review of the first trailer, and I told you, this is what you kind of avoided. You kind of avoided this joint right here, okay? And that's what these women want. That's what these feminists want. They want this to be She-Hulk, okay? Remember I told you, just like, this is what it could have been, okay? This is what it could have been, all right? And lo and behold, listen to the feminists now. Oh my God, the body, there's all kinds of beautiful bodies out there. See, that's the problem. You're never gonna get to the end of this thing. So, which one of these is gonna be the best? Which one of these is going to be the worst? Well, here's my theory. So going back to our list here, you know, I think House of the Dragon has the best chance of being the best show. All right. You know, again, written by George R.R. Martin. George R.R. Martin wrote Fire and Blood. That's the book that this is based on. He's been on set. He's been around. And so far, it sounds like the woke critics hate it. So that means good things possibly. Now, I do know that they said we're going to tone down the sex and the violence. You know, I don't really care. As long as the story is good, as long as the characters are well written, and as long as they don't spend a whole lot of time dealing with politics, and, you know, except the in-world politics, that's fine. But if they try to kind of connect this stuff to the real world, then that's when I'm gonna tune out. So yeah, hopefully that's not going to happen. But I think right now, based on everything that I've read, House of the Dragon. Number two, I think Andor is probably number two. You know, again, Tony Gilroy is a good writer. Whether or not he actually wrote a good series is another story. But I think this stands the best chance of not being super duper terrible. It might be good. It might have moments, and it might, you know, stick their toe into the world of progressive politics. If they do all of that and it turns into CNN and MSNBC, you know, I'm gonna be highly disappointed in Tony Gilroy, and I'm probably gonna really rip the hell out of this show. But yeah, I still think out of everything that I've seen so far, I think those top two right there. Now it comes to those bottom two. I mean, we've already seen She-Hulk, and we already know what this thing is going to be. Rings of Power, you know, I mean, I don't know how you pick between the two. One of them has got to be better than the other, even if by, you know, slight degrees. I'm going with Ring of Power is actually probably going to be slightly better than She-Hulk. That don't mean I think it's going to be good. No way in hell is this show going to be any good, and it could actually end up being worse than She-Hulk. But I think that after watching that first episode of She-Hulk, and that might be color in my opinion, She-Hulk is just like feminism on steroids right now, man. You know, I'm surprised they didn't throw like slut shaming or the wage gap in there while they were at it. Like, they just put everything in there that they could possibly throw in, you know. But I mean, it's only the first episode, you know. know, as they say, you know, the night is young, you know, who knows what'll happen as time goes on. But anyway, folks, what do you think about my list here? What do you think about any of these series that's coming up? Go ahead and give me your little rankings down in the comments. Who's going to be the worst? Who's going to be the best? Who's going to be the wokest? House of the Dragon right now probably stands the best chance. But again, go ahead, leave me your comments and thoughts in the comments below. And I thank you for watching. See you next time.